Hello and welcome back to Car Rental University. I am your host, Alex Withrow. Today we're going to talk about the harsh reality of car sharing in 2024. Before I get into that, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business. That also includes the CarShare Growth Guide that gives you a city-by-city breakdown of which CarShare platform is strongest in your area. So, I'm hearing a lot of different things, and before I get into this, I apologize for the sound quality right off the bat. As you guys just saw in my short, I have just moved into a new condo and we are fairly empty in here right now. So pardon me while I get some more furniture and the sound quality improves. I promise it's all coming together. So, I've been seeing a lot of comments lately about, turo fleets selling off, they're not profitable anymore. Obviously, Getaround's had its issues. Getaround just announced they are laying off about a third of their workforce altogether to save about $7 million a year in salary expenses. Look, this industry has always been kind of dynamic, lots of moving pieces. This is what I will say to you if you are concerned about car sharing, if you've got maybe 4 or 5 cars or more, you've got some loans. You're gonna have to learn every play in the playbook. That's just the reality. You're gonna have to learn Turo. You're gonna have to learn Getaround. You're gonna have to learn how hyrecar works, and you're gonna have to learn private rental agreements. And so, this is just the reality of this industry. If you really want to make a business out of this, just being dependent only on Getaround or only on Turo, it's not going to fly in this business. I don't know what else to tell you. That's just the reality of this space. So obviously Turo is not too difficult, but understanding the nuances between all the different car share platforms is very important. I've talked about that extensively on this channel. I probably will talk about it again more soon. But obviously, if you're on Turo, you've got to really kind of keep an eye on the maintenance and cleaning the cars. That's a big deal with Turo customers, having that car sharp, looking perfect, ready to go right when it is ready to rent. Getaround is obviously a little more hands-off, but Getaround is very location sensitive. If you are outside of a city, it's not going to do much for you. If you are inside a city, downtown areas, that's where they are strongest. That is a really important thing to take note. But, Getaround has its problems right now. They're very slow on paying out on claims right now. I've heard that across the board, probably for the better part of 6 months or more. And so there is a risk with working with Getaround. You've got to learn private rental agreements. You must learn private rental agreements. Private rentals have saved me time and time again in my own business over the years. I'm in the process now of building out a very large operation that is going to heavily incorporate private rental agreements. I will say that the very common question I get about private rental agreements is about insurance, right? There's really one of 2 ways to do private rental agreements. Either do it with like 4 cars or less, or like 30 cars or more. That's basically what you're looking at in terms of options. Because if you do it 4 cars or less, you can kind of put one-off drivers on, personal insurance under the rideshare option. If you don't want to do that, you're going to need like a lot of cars, because then the insurance carriers would prefer that you have 30 or 40 cars, and they can offset the private rental agreement, the risk of that amongst 30 or 40 cars or more. So in that scenario, they're actually very, they view that scenario very favorably. It's my point overall though is you're gonna have to learn all the plays in the playbook, and frankly, it's I'm going to tell you right now, it's actually easier from a profit standpoint to have 10 cars rather than 2 or 3. Because if 1 car suffers for a month, when you only have 2 or 3 cars, that's a third of your business. Whereas if 1 car suffers when you have 10 cars or more, that's only a tenth of your business. So, I would say that it is actually easier to run a successful business in this space if you are scaled. Now, granted, if you are scaled, you have to have superior systems in place. we can talk about that more. Obviously, I'm in a situation right now where I am going through the details of a scaled fleet. So, I will certainly share more and more of that with you guys over this coming year. This is certainly a new phase for me as well. But that said, I'm going to just reemphasize the point, and this is the hard truth of 2024 and car sharing, is that you must know how to do everything. You've got to know private rentals, hyrecar, turo, Getaround, because in different situations, different platforms or business models are going to make sense. And obviously, Uber CarShare up in Boston now, we're kind of hearing some about that, but obviously they originally had very large plans. I think that's kind of come back down to earth a little, but they are operational and moving forward. That's really what I want to impress upon you guys today, is that getting into this business, I still think, is a very profitable venture. But if you are someone who is investigating this space, I would really take your time to understand the nuances and differences between each car share platform and how to really make private rental agreements work. Now, we've talked about this before. I personally prefer long-term private rental agreements. Some people do short-term private rental agreements. I think long-term private rental agreements make way, way more sense, because you're not searching for new customers every week. You are searching for new customers every 6 months or more. So all that to say, that's really what I want to impress upon you guys today. I think that it's still a very profitable business. I do think more people, larger players, are getting into the space. We're going to start seeing margins compress a little, but I still think there is plenty of money to be made. And I do think that if you scale, it's going to make your life a little easier. So if you get up to 5 or 10 cars or more, I do think that that is an easier scenario. Not to say that it's passive, but I will say from a profitability standpoint, it's better. So don't let me confuse you with that. But before I go, click below, grab the 5 things you must do before starting a car rental business, and I will catch you in the next episode. Thank you.